Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a safety tips video, my top 10 tips to keep you safe while traveling. And this can be universal, not just for Thailand. The first one is, I like to only take rides from the airport from the local version of Uber here in Thailand, that's Bolt and Grab. I use either that or I book my ride ahead of time. I have the priority pass, so I book airport transfers through that, which is then locally booked through Agoda travel. So there's a little bit more security with that. A lot of these airports around the world will let random drivers just hail rides privately. They're not really taxis. You don't know what the security situation is in that local place. If you haven't been there before, just don't do that. Book your ride ahead of time or through one of the local apps. Point number 2 is having a little bit of discretion, especially if you're traveling solo like me. I try not to tell a lot of people where I'm staying or what my purpose is if they don't really need to know. It's nice to be friendly, but you don't need to give too much info away on where you're staying, especially how much money you have. Don't be hinting at that, and just kind of keep a low profile while traveling. That's always the best advice. Sometimes if the person is being very persistent about it, that's kind of a red flag for me. So then I'll draw a line in the sand and I'll say, yeah, just for safety reasons, I don't like giving my info away too much. I like to keep a low profile, and most people will respect that. Point number 3 for your hotel room. The doors internationally don't always lock automatically like they would, let's say, in the US or a lot of places in Europe. It's more of like a building code thing where the doors have to automatically lock if you release the door. That doesn't necessarily happen in places like Thailand where it's very loose building codes. That's also one reason I prefer the international branded hotels like Marriott, IHG, Hyatt. You're gonna get better safety features in those kind of hotels where they're adhering to the international brand standards, not just what Thailand requires. Point number 4, also to do with the room, I always leave my do not disturb sign on the outside the door almost at all times. Whether I'm in the room or leaving the room, unless I want the maid to come in and clean, the do not disturb sign is on the door. Basically all hotels have a requirement. If the sign's on, no one's going in. It's just another filter to make sure no one's entering the room, whether it's maintenance people that haven't gotten your permission to enter, that sort of thing. In that case, they would have to contact you first before they can enter. And I think that's just a better way of doing it. Point number 5 is an anti-theft measure that I do. And this is just keeping everything organized in the room when you're leaving, especially if the maids are coming in. Sometimes the hotel staff will send in maintenance people as well. So if you have your room organized, it's a lot more difficult for a thief to take advantage of a situation because you have all your things organized. So I don't have any zippers open on my bags, and I put things in a certain order. That way I can see if something is out of place. And everything that can be put in the lock boxes, I do. A lot of times, even my tablets as well, I put them in the lockbox if they fit. Point number 6, and this is a more Thailand specific thing and Asia specific thing, don't start public arguments, especially if you're dealing with security staff or just in general. Asian cultures are very sensitive to maintaining their face in public. Don't disrespect the locals. Almost everyone here knows Muay Thai. If you start a public incident, you might wind up face down, one punch knockout. There's plenty of videos of the Aussie recently that started a fight with security on Soy 6, and it was a one punch knockout, and then the bar staff came out and tuned him up as well. So there's plenty of videos like that going around. Just don't start public arguments. If you find yourself in a weird situation where you got to pay some extra money because you're maybe getting scammed a little bit, just pay it and get out of there. Next up, I have several safety tips in regards to the recent earthquake that happened in Bangkok. While that didn't happen here in Pattaya, it was a major issue in Bangkok. And I want you to consider a few things. Make sure you know where the stairs are for an emergency, because whether it's the earthquake that happened in Bangkok or this could be a fire in the building, you need to know what the nearest stairs is to get out of there, because the elevators may not be working and you probably wouldn't want to take the elevator in the earthquake anyway. Just make sure you know your exit strategy for the floor that you're staying on. Point number 8, and this was really highlighted by the earthquake: if you're not the most mobile person, maybe you're a little bit older in age or whatever, you're not able to get around as well, it may not be the best thing for you to stay in a super high-rise building where you're going to be on the 30th floor. There's plenty of videos going around of the YouTubers or whoever that was staying in a high-rise on the 35th floor, let's say, of a hotel or Airbnb, and then an earthquake happens and they had a very difficult time getting all the way down that many flights of stairs. This is something that you can plan ahead. Maybe you don't want to stay in a building that's such a big high-rise. Maybe stay in a building that's only 10 or 12 floors, that sort of thing. There's plenty of hotels out there that are only that tall, and maybe that's a lot easier for you to get down that few amount of staircases. Point number 9, and this also has to do with high-rise buildings especially. When you stay at international brands, like I like to stay, let's say Hyatt, IHG, Marriott, Hilton, those sort of brands, they have higher building standards because they're adhering to the international brand standard, not just, let's say, the Thai standard. When it comes to an emergency like an earthquake, and you're staying at an international branded hotel like IHG, Marriott, etc., you're more likely to be in a building that is going to withstand that bad situation because there's a higher building code standard. Everyone has seen the video of the building that's halfway under construction in Bangkok and falls down during the earthquake. And clearly it should not have fallen based on how much of it was completed. But it did so because it was built by a Chinese company that had basically a fraudulent steel that was not high quality, and they were trying to be cheap about it. And my opinion is that's not the only building that was built like that, and there's going to be other cases coming out of other buildings that may have survived, but not by much. Point number 10, and this might be the most important one. This is kind of a rare case, but I did possibly run into this situation when I was in Vietnam. I can't really confirm that. And that is, if you think you might be being followed, you need to know how to get out of that situation appropriately. The most common way to do that is the 3-turn rule. And that means, let's say, whether you're driving or you're walking down the sidewalk and you're going to your destination, if someone behind you makes the same 3 turns that you're making, that's when you need to start paying attention. And if it goes on to that 4th turn especially, there's a very high likelihood that someone is tailing you. And you don't know what their intention is, but you need to get out of that situation. And the common thought would be, okay, well, I'll just turn around to my hotel or make a quick turn towards the hotel in a different direction, that sort of thing. What you really want to do is go into a public place that is not your hotel. That way this person cannot figure out which hotel you're staying at. Because once they do that, they can just wait for you the next time and you don't know what their intention is. So I ran into that situation in Da Nang actually. Only time I felt a little bit uneasy there, but I just went into a local 7-Eleven and dodged the tail and went about my way. I have no idea what their intention was. Maybe it was just a curious person, I don't know, but I didn't want to find out, so I went to a 7-Eleven nearby my hotel, but not directly to the hotel. That way they couldn't tell for sure exactly where I was staying. By the time I got out, they were gone. So that was good. That pretty much wraps up this video for the top 10 safety tips while traveling. Most of these tips are universal, and I hope you got some value out of it. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and most importantly, share this with someone that might be traveling soon internationally and might get some value out of these safety tips. We'll see you in the next video.